Hi there, beautiful people. My name is Persona Purple, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to make music in the style of Steven Universe. I've always loved the show. I've always loved the music from the show. It's phenomenal. It still has a hold on me. And just a heads up, I'm probably going to be talking a lot during this breakdown. But before I get into any of that stuff, let's go ahead and take a listen to what we're going to be breaking down. That was a little idea I like to call Other Side. I really didn't have any ideas for it going into it. I kind of just started messing around with the keys, and it just kind of evolved as I worked my way across. So let's start with sound selection. I'm going to be breaking this down every 8 bars. So let's start with this right here. So pretty much once I had started with those chords and added in a few extra notes, there was already a vibe going. There was already a certain feeling that was coming from the keys alone. You can't go wrong starting with just a basic piano or a basic guitar and just getting chords in there, so that way you can establish kind of the rhythm in the beginning, but more so the feeling and the vibe that you want to create. And it kind of gives you a good strong foundation for what the rest of the track will be moving horizontally. I added this retro synth sound. It's just a simple ascending pattern. Steven Universe, they use a lot of retro tones, retro keys, so even if you don't have a bunch of expensive plugins, they all have categories of stuff. So you can't go wrong just going into whatever VSTs you have and just clicking retro keys, retro tones, retro synths. It's in there. Just adding that piano to start with and then adding in that retro synth sound, you're already starting that motion picture. You already got the feeling that you've already got some movement, and that's really what you want to establish out the gate. And then from there you just kind of build it up. I added another synth. I took the same chords from right here pretty much, and I just chopped them up a little bit and pitched it up a little bit higher to kind of give it a little bit more rhythm and a little bit of embellishment, just to add a little bit of twinkle to it. I added in this other synth. Simple notes. So pretty much it's just following the melody of the original piano chords right here. 1, So pretty much it's kind of just a simple call and response thing. And if you starting a project and you want to make music in this style, it's important to do your research, because I'm sure you're watching this, you're like, well, how did you know which sounds to pick, which sounds to go after? I knew because that's what I listen to, and that would be something that I recommend all producers do. It's going to make things so much easier when you sit down at the DAW to create, is actually listen to the music that you want to create. These 4 sounds right here were the foundation for everything that came after. I added in this pluck bass. Pretty much every 8 bars, something is changing, whether it's the sounds, whether it's a key change, or whether it's the rhythm of the instruments that were already there. Something is pretty much changing or being added every 8 bars to keep it interesting. And then after I added the pluck bass, I added in some more retro sounds. This pattern that's on the retro synth right here in the orange is the same as the retro tones in the blue right here, but just higher up, and I changed some of the notes to just be a harmony, so that way you get the sense that it's being built up and there's more happening, when really they just took the same pattern, changed a couple of the notes, kept them in the scale, and then sent it up to a higher frequency range to give you that fullness. So again, if you're getting stuck every 8 bars, that's a simple thing that you can do. Take a pattern you already have, change that sound, make a couple harmony notes, boom, and then just adding the bass pluck and adding that same pattern up a few octaves and changing the sound, you get your second 8 bars. So here's when things really start to pick up. When you start bringing in the strings, it always gets serious, it always gets emotional, it always gets whatever emotion when you bring the strings in. The strings are a great way to really drive whatever it is home and build that tension and build, you know what I'm saying, those feelings, and really, you know, make somebody feel something. And strings are used heavily all throughout Steven Universe songs and Steven Universe scorings. It's very few that do not have strings of some kind. I'm still learning a lot about orchestra instruments, and I'm still learning a lot about how they work together and how to make them sound real when you're just working with MIDI. So I got this string ensemble, which is a stock sound in Logic here, and pretty much I've got it set to, let me see, I'm pretty sure they're set to legato. Again, I can't really see them because I had to freeze these tracks so I could make this video, but I'm pretty sure these violins in the string ensemble are legato. So pretty much these next 8 bars, the only thing that changes is strings, and I took out some instruments. So let's just hear it by itself. So again, your chords that you start with are going to be your best friend throughout the whole entire thing. If you don't know what to do, reference the chords. These are the same chords, they're just in different intervals, and I've moved some of them around a little bit, but they're pretty much the same chords at the core. I added these violas because I'm learning more about MIDI orchestration, and I'm learning that you're supposed to kind of break up each the high, mids, and the low notes across the string section, because that's what each string instrument in the section is for. So I just added in some violas, and for reference, you can see both of them together, all just chords happening at the same time, just hitting different notes, lower and higher. So you see, they sounded all right before, but once you separate the chords and start to separate them across their rightful instruments that they're supposed to be used for in an actual orchestra, it starts to build up even more feeling, more emotion, more tension. And of course, I used articulation, which pretty much allows you to kind of mimic, you know, that realism that you would get if you were actually playing these strings, or if a string player were actually in there, you know, going crazy on it, to kind of help build it up, because it's necessary. Because without the articulation, without that being present, it just sounds really boring and less dynamic and kind of flat. Another retro sound, same pattern as the one before, same pattern. Same pattern, same melody, just different sound. So pretty much the only thing that changed in this next 8 bars is the strings come in. We changed out this pattern for a different sound right here. And then I took out the kind of twinkly sounding synth chords from the beginning. So that's the only thing that changed. All together now. Yeah, what? So let's move to our last 8 bars, where it really is reaching its climax. But I want to also play the end of this, so that way we can really get a feeling for what's happening here. So the reason why I feel like that particular portion of this piece it works so well is because of a simple trick called tempo changing. It's been at 107 BPM this whole first 24 bars, and then when it reaches the last 8 bars, it starts at 107 and it slowly goes down to 103, slowly down to 906. So how do we do that in Logic? Pretty much what you're going to do is, if you have your advanced tools on, you're going to come up here, click this little drop down menu, and then you'll have tempo. And if it's not there, just do a simple right click, and then you'll have everything that you need, from arrangement to markers, all sorts of things to kind of help you, you know, act as your guide and not get lost within the creation. So I'm going to get rid of this. So yeah, pretty much in Logic, tempo is pretty much just like automation. You're gonna get in here, you're gonna double click to add a point. I don't know what it's doing. I didn't do that. Didn't do that. Oh no, not the red circle of death during a tutorial, bro. Okay, so you see it added a point now. I don't know what it was doing, but it added a point. So pretty much, if you know how to do automation in Logic, I find that this is actually even easier. You just click the drop down, hit tempo, and then you can click and drag points to make it go up, which will speed up the tempo, and down to make it go slower. So all I did was add a simple point here to here, and slowly just gradually get down here to 96. That's all that was happening there. It's no fancy tricks, no fancy plugins, just simply using what we have. Everything that I've discussed in this video is something that every DAW has. Every DAW has tempo changes. Every DAW has ways for you to do articulation for orchestral sounds. So I'm not doing anything super out there. You haven't seen me pull out any crazy plugins. Every DAW has retro sounds. Every DAW has your basic grand pianos. So you can absolutely make this style of music without having to go out and buy a bunch of expensive VSTs and, you know, just unnecessary things. So that pretty much wraps up my breakdown of my idea called The Other Side. It is on SoundCloud if you want to keep listening. If you love Steven Universe music and you've been kind of hungry or thirsty for that kind of sound since the show's end, it is up on SoundCloud, and I will link that in the bio. But before I wrap this video up, I'm not sure when the next videos will be up, but I got some pretty cool content lined up. If you love Steven Universe music, if you love the creators and the composers behind Steven Universe music, and we're actually going to take a sneak peek first look into some of those videos now. So hopefully you learned something, hopefully you heard something, felt something in this video. If you're a music lover or just a Steven Universe fan, I look forward to dropping more videos, dropping more content, and please leave some comments. I'm not a stickler when it comes to criticism. I'm not used to doing videos in tutorial style. You know, a lot of musicians, they can hear, they can sing, they can make all sorts of sounds, but when it comes time to explain that process, it gets kind of jumbled up. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you all in the next one.